The historic step towards peace in the Middle East is still reverberating beyond the backdrop of yesterday's White House.
David Brody spoke with Vice President Mike Pence about the historic day and what it means for the region.
An historic peace accord. What do you make of it, not just from a news perspective, as everybody wants to talk about the news perspective, but there's a biblical perspective here as well. There are a lot of people of faith who know how precious Israel is, and of course, all countries, but Israel has a special place in the tapestry of biblical history.
David, I call Israel our most cherished ally. And I believe that literally from the founding of this nation, the desire to see the Jewish people restored to their historic homeland was sown into the hearts of the American people. They prayed for that day to come, labored for that day to come. And in 1948 it came.
Right.
And from this White House, it would be President Harry Truman that had the United States be the first nation on earth to recognize the Jewish state of Israel. But I have to tell you, as a strong supporter of Israel, I couldn't be more proud. The leadership President Donald Trump has provided this, brought us to this day. I mean, first, he made it clear, if the world understands nothing else, they need to understand this. America stands with Israel. It was this president that moved the American embassy to Jerusalem, the capital of the state of Israel. He recognized Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights. And we've reaffirmed our strong commitment to Israel, as perhaps no other administration in my lifetime. But at the same time, President Trump made his very first trip overseas to go to a capital of the Arab world. He brought together more than 50 nations to form a new alliance to counter radical Islamic terrorism. And we began to forge relationships within the Arab world. We've isolated the leading state sponsor of terror in the world, in Iran, like no other time in recent memory. But all along the way, those relationships began to be forged. And 1 month ago, it would be the United Arab Emirates that for the first time in 26 years became an Arab nation that recognized the Jewish state of Israel and established diplomatic relations. And then just a few short days ago, announced on 9/11, Bahrain joined the UAE in recognizing Israel. And as the president said today, we believe more Arab nations will join us. I mean, in a very real sense, I think President Trump demonstrated that as we stand strongly with Israel, but also stand for peace, that we can see history unfold. And I truly do believe what happened today on the South Lawn of the White House is the beginning of a new era of peace for Israel, for the wider Arab world. And it's very humbling for me to be some small part of it.